parents of two Benghazi victims have filed a lawsuit against Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton. The case was filed on behalf of Patricia Smith. She's the mother of Sean Smith and Charles Woods, the father of Tyrone Woods. The suit alleging that Clinton's reckless handling of classified information contributed to their deaths in the September 2012 attack in Benghazi. I want to bring in former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, AEI Senior Fellow and Fox News contributor John Bolton. Ambassador, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Your thoughts on this suit first by Pat Smith.
Well, I certainly understand the feelings of the families of the people murdered at Benghazi, but I may be reflecting my days as head of the Civil Division at the Department of Justice, but I don't think public officials should be sued in their private capacity because people disagree with the outcome of the policies they've been pursuing. I think there may be more of a claim here on the defamation side of the case that they brought for Hillary Clinton effectively giving the back of the hand to the families after she told them when the bodies came back to Andrews Air Force Base that the attack was caused by the Mohammed video. And when they had a different recollection of what Hillary said, she said, well, you know, they were overcome by emotion. So I wish them good luck because I found that conduct reprehensible. But that's her private conduct, and I think that's what they should focus on.
So it sounds like you don't think that the suit as it is right now will go anywhere.
Certainly not on the allegation of her official duties. It shouldn't go anywhere,
sure.
Not because I disagree with their claim. I just don't think public officials should be endlessly dragged in their personal capacity through court. We can't get much done in government these days anyway. If that were allowed, we never get anything done.
Yeah, that's a great point. Ambassador, let me ask you about this letter. 50 prominent Republican foreign policy and national security experts coming out against Donald Trump in this open letter. They write, quote, from a foreign policy perspective, Donald Trump is not qualified to be president and commander-in-chief. Indeed, we are convinced that he would be a dangerous president and would put at risk our country's national security and well-being. Donald Trump responded to this letter as well. He put out a statement, Ambassador, and he says, they are nothing more than the failed Washington elite looking to hold on to their power, and it's time that they are held accountable for their actions. These insiders, along with Hillary Clinton, are the owners of the disastrous decisions to invade Iraq, allow Americans to die in Benghazi, and they are the ones who allowed the rise of ISIS. What do you make of all of this, Ambassador?
Well, I've looked at the list of 50 signatories, and there are people on there that I know for whom I have the highest respect, really the highest respect. There are a large number of people I've never heard of, and there's a significant number of people that I would not recommend for a job in a future Republican administration if my life depended on it. So I'm not sure that the letter makes that much difference. Look, the choice is between another Obama term in national security or a changed policy, and I think a third Obama term domestically as well as internationally, while we're on the subject, would be a catastrophe for the country.
Lee Carter, you made a good point earlier, basically saying, what's the point here? What are they trying to do with this letter?
I just can't imagine what they're trying to accomplish. They're trying to turn the election over to Hillary Clinton, or what do you think it was?
Ambassador, I mean, what are they trying to accomplish here?
I think some of them have said very clearly in other statements they're going to vote for Hillary Clinton. Well, God bless them. Do what you want to do. But I think the unavoidable fact is in November we're going to elect a president. You can like that or not like that, but that's going to happen, and it's going to be one or two people. So if you're not voting for Donald Trump, implicitly you're supporting Hillary Clinton, even by abstaining. I'm going to vote for Trump. I support him, and I think the choice is pretty clear.
Ambassador, Mr. Trump yesterday tried to turn the conversation back to the economy. One of the signatures of his proposals is renegotiating trade deals like NAFTA. What do you think about that? Is that something that's doable, and would renegotiating deals like NAFTA and also China's place, cracking down on China, help the economy?
Well, I can tell you what my position is. I believe in free trade, period. But let's be clear, not every international agreement that's called a free trade deal is in fact a free trade deal. A lot of it are provisions that are essentially managed trade, and I'd be certainly happy to renegotiate that. And the second point is our foreign policy establishment is chronically unable to confront violators of our international agreements, whether it's trade agreements or arms control agreements, you name it. So I think a president who's willing to say to a foreign country, here's what you've said you're going to do, and if you're not going to do it, there are going to be consequences, I think could be a good thing across the board, as I say, whether it's trade or arms control.
Can you be more specific about what you would renegotiate? Does that include NAFTA or provisions in NAFTA that aren't working?
Well, I would get rid of the side agreements, the labor and environmental side agreements that the Clinton administration negotiated. If you believe in free trade, you believe in free trade, not free trade with a little bit of managed trade on the side. That's why I think this debate is not a grand philosophical divide, as some have portrayed it. It's a difference between degrees, and personally, I would take a look at all these foreign international trade agreements, including the WTO, maybe particularly the WTO, and say, if you believe in free trade, let's have it, and let's not pretend that it's free trade when it's not.
Hey, Ambassador Bolton, it's Sandra Smith. Good morning. Do you think that at this point, as a supporter of Donald Trump, is Donald Trump doing a good job telling his supporters and potential supporters why Hillary Clinton is not the best person for national security and for foreign policy for this country?
Well, I think there's obviously a better job that could be done because he's so far behind in the polls. And I think that focusing on where Hillary really is and what her actual record has been is critical. You know, her campaign argument is her resume, but a resume can contain a lot of entries that doesn't prove that you're competent or that your worldview is what the United States needs. So I think a more exacting scrutiny of Hillary's performance as Secretary of State would do the thing for Trump. You
know, do you think, Ambassador, that Trump should announce who he's considering for some of these important posts as they relate to foreign policy? Would that resonate with voters? What is he going to do to take the conversation back? Do you think yesterday was a start?
Sure. I think you have seasoned observers who have looked at that speech. Dan Henninger of the Wall Street Journal, who have given it high praise. I think others have as well. Honestly, I don't know what the personalities do for anybody. There are only two people running for president. That's what voters are going to fundamentally decide on. And I think talking about the policies of the opposition, you really want 4 more years of Obama policies, which is what you're going to get with Hillary Clinton. That's the way to go about it.
All right, we'll leave it there. Ambassador, great to have you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Ambassador John Bolton there.
Hillary Clinton sticking to her story that she never told Patricia Smith, the mother of one of the 4 Americans killed in Benghazi, that the attack was the result of a YouTube video. Clinton even implying Patricia Smith may have been making the entire story up. And now Patricia Smith and another Benghazi parent are suing Hillary Clinton for wrongful death and defamation, saying her use of a private email server contributed to her son's death, and that Clinton defamed the parents in public statements. Joining me right now is Patricia Smith. I know, Mrs. Smith, this has been an extraordinarily emotional time for you. You still haven't heard from Hillary Clinton. What is your hope in this lawsuit?
I want Hillary to tell me what happened with my son. I have begged, I have pleaded, and she has not bothered to even call me or let me know what the State Department thought about it or anything about it. She has not contacted me. I have begged, and now I'm going to stop begging, and I want her to tell me what happened. Why is my son dead?
So you're trying to take it to the courts now to get answers?
I have to. She won't answer me. She says I'm not a member of the immediate family. I don't deserve to know.
You're his mother.
I know that. You know that, but she doesn't.
You're also suing her for defamation. Why?
Because she lied to me. And she went on TV and was lying about me. And she says I said things that I didn't say.
So you're concerned that she's presented you in a way that does not make you seem as clear-headed as you know that you were in those moments when she told you it was the YouTube video?
I I don't know. She's been lying at me the whole time. I don't know specifically which particular time she lied to me, but she has been lying to me, and she will not tell me why my son is dead. She told her daughter. She told other people, but she will not talk to me.
Could the lawsuit have been prevented if she had maybe just given you a call, reached out,
Absolutely.
someone from the State Department were to talk to you?
Absolutely. From day one, I said, please, just tell me what happened. Tell me what happened, and I'll let it go. But I got to know, and she wouldn't tell me. And I told her I'd shut up if she would just tell me. But no. No, that's beneath her. She's treating me like dirt. She doesn't want to talk to me. She doesn't want to acknowledge my existence. I am here, Hillary. I am still here, and I want answers.
Yeah, no, we know you're not going away. I mean, some have said you have an uphill battle. This is going to be very challenging because, in part, the lawyer you have on the case, he is someone who has made repeated claims about the Clintons and filed a number of lawsuits. And Judge Andrew Napolitano, who works for us here at Fox, thinks that this in some ways will taint your case. It will make it more difficult, in part because of who the lawyer is. They've also said it's challenging for you, Mrs. Smith, because Hillary Clinton was indemnified effectively as Secretary of State. How do you respond to those challenges?
She lied, and if there's any way of proving it or saying it, she lies. Why is people believing her and not me? My son is the one that got killed there. He's the one that died. He called me the night before and told me he was going to die because she pulled all the security away. Now, when I mention that, people think that I'm wrong. They say, what's the matter with you? You can't sue Hillary. She's too big. Well, maybe so. Maybe I'm wrong. But I want answers. And she may be too big, but not in front of God she isn't.
Mrs. Smith, you want answers, and you should get them. Thank you very much again for joining us here today.
Okay.
You know, all right, so the big question is, do the families have a case? Joining us right now, Larry Klayman. He's the founder of Judicial Watch and the attorney representing Patricia Smith and Charles Woods in the lawsuit against Hillary Clinton, along with Robert Zimmerman, a Democratic strategist and Democratic National Committee member. Good to see both of you. Larry, I know how hard this is on the families. I've spoken to Mrs. Smith, and I know she needs answers and wants some answers, but Hillary Clinton, as you heard Judge Napolitano just say, is effectively indemnified. I mean, how do you get a judge to take this case?
Trish, thank you for having me on, and I respect Andrew Napolitano, but he's wrong here. As the FBI director said, and as Mr. Giuliani said, the former mayor of New York, Rudy Giuliani, Mrs. Clinton committed about 17 criminal violations in misusing her private email server. It's textbook law, in fact, Supreme Court law, that when you do that, you lose your immunity. So Judge Napolitano is just mistaken in this instance. He's wrong. Secondly, what we're doing here is trying to bring about justice. And that's the reason that I'm representing these clients, because Mrs. Clinton has skated for so many years. And this time she's done something which has caused the death of our clients, as we allege in the complaint. You can find it at freedomwatchusa.org. That's the group I founded after Judicial Watch. And you'll see from that complaint, it's a very simple complaint. And in fact, we have a tremendous chance of success. We've also sued on grounds of defamation because Mrs. Clinton told our clients, and Charles Woods, the father of Tyrone Woods, recorded this in his diary. You know, he was an administrative law judge, so he knows how to record evidence, that this was an attack caused by a video of the Prophet Muhammad. Well, Mrs. Clinton told the Prime Minister of Egypt the opposite. She told her daughter Clinton the opposite, and then calls our clients liars.
Right.
You can't do that. That's defamation.
You know, Robert Zimmerman, you know, but again, she was Secretary of State, and as challenging as this all is, and as difficult as it is for the families, is it not the government that needs to investigate this as opposed to a lawsuit here?
Trish, can I just make a point before we have a political discussion? That our prayers have to be offered to the families of the Benghazi victims, and we have to honor the heroic efforts of all those who passed in Benghazi. And we have to remember that first and foremost. Let me also point out, in terms of addressing this lawsuit, it wasn't just Judge Napolitano who dismissed this lawsuit, but Greg Jarrett, a Fox News anchor on commentary today, also dismissed the merits of this lawsuit. And let's also remember in this discussion that other members of the family and it's been well documented, other family members who were present with Mrs. Clinton remember that emotional and difficult meeting very differently. Many of them have acknowledged that the videos were never, the concept of a video was never discussed at these meetings. So it's very important to have all the facts on the table. And the most important fact to remember is the reason this lawsuit has no merit at all, and the reason this lawsuit is nothing more than a political exploitation of a tragedy, is because of the character of the person who's bringing it, Mr. Klayman. Let's be very clear about this. He has accused the Clintons of engaging in plots to murder his associates. He accused President Obama of bringing Ebola into the United States so that it would further his terror, the president's administrative agenda.
So you think this is a personal thing, fact, Larry?
It's more. Excuse me, Trish. If I can finish my point. If I can finish my point, Mr. Klayman was in fact.
Well, why don't you show your DNC talking points right now?
Robert just finished his point.
Let me finish my point.
Show the viewers your DNC talking points.
Don't interrupt me, Larry. I didn't interrupt you. Let's remember that you were temporarily disbarred in New York for your bigoted comments about an Asian American judge, and you're on record with bigoted comments against Jewish Americans as well.
All of that aside, Robert is saying that basically you have a vendetta against the Clintons, and that's what motivated this lawsuit. Your response?
This is typical of Hillary Clinton. He's just a shill for Hillary Clinton. I happen to be of Jewish origin myself, Robert. Robert, let me finish. Okay, this is, as Hillary used to call it, the politics of personal destruction. The fact is, I'm the only lawyer ever to have a court rule that Bill Clinton committed a crime when he released the Privacy Act protected files of Kathleen Willey. Let me finish. I made no bigoted comments. I'm a strong supporter of Israel.
Were you disbarred in New York temporarily?
I was not. That's a lie too, Robert. So, Robert, watch your language here, because you've just defamed me.
Did you say
I was never disbarred in New York.
Did you say the president wanted to bring Ebola into the United States to further a terrorist agenda?
Larry,
you were going to let me finish. The president.
Larry, you go ahead.
I don't want to get off the point.
This is the question I have. In other words, Robert's saying that you are motivated for personal reasons, that you have made a career of going after the Clintons. I'd like you to respond to that.
Well, I might add, with the Clintons, corruption is a growth industry, so somebody had to do it. This government will not address it because the Washington establishment scratches its own backs. You have people like Robert come out to try to divert the issues. We want justice here.
Thank you so much. Good to have you both here with me tonight, Larry and Robert.